Hello all, I am Bryon of Hessan's County and I'm glad you could join me all today. Today we'll be diving further into the character creation process and their powers from my tabletop role-playing game, Heavens of Khepri. This is the second video in this series, so I would recommend you go back and watch the resolution mechanics video if you've not already done so. Here you can see an example of the Heavens of Khepri character sheet. We are going to be starting here from the upper right, where you can see the 5 approaches. On the character sheet, the size of your Awoken's approach pools, the number of dice that you roll, is represented quite literally by the line of 4 pyramids next to each approach. At character creation, you get 4 points, which you can use to color in or cross out 4 of the triangles, starting from the right side of the row and moving to the left. In play, your pools will equal the remaining blank pyramids next to the approach's name. Each of these approaches describes your Awoken's comfort level at certain types of problem solving. When utilizing the Think approach, my character uses what they already know or what they could have already studied, along with careful observation of the physical situation in order to inform their actions. When utilizing the Sway approach, my character would use a read on the social or emotional situation of what is going on in order to help convince others of what they want them to believe is the truth. When using the Sneak approach, my character might utilize stealth or act in unassuming ways in order to either avoid notice or to disguise their true motives. When using the Strike approach, my character would utilize courage and will to commit to an action and follow through to the end, no matter the cost. When utilizing the Troll approach, my character might use targeted provocation or pull on emotional strings, or utilize the inside knowledge of how the MMO works, the little quirks that it might have, in order to shake human characters off of their game, or otherwise accomplish goals for the Awoken character. Which approach applies to a particular action depends on the interpretation of the player and the game dev working together. For example, if an Awoken is trying to bypass a guard, then Sneak might be an understandable default. However, the Awoken could also use Think if they took the time to study patrol patterns, Sway in order to convince the guard that the Awoken is supposed to be there, or Troll to kind of egg on a nearby human player to attack the guard to act as a distraction. Remember, when creating a character, you will normally get 4 points that you can use to reduce the size of your dice pools. Just color in or cross out 4 of the pyramids going from right to left. Remember that you can only spend up to 2 points in any one approach. In the example you can see here on the screen, we have completed the character's approaches. They are quite skilled at the Sneak approach, and somewhat skilled at Thinking and Trolling approaches, but not very good at swaying or striking. On the bottom right of the character sheet, we have the Ship box. When your Awoken is within the MMO's game world, this is the form in which you will act through and that others will see you as. You can have your ship look however you would like, use whatever weapons you would like it to use, or so on. How capable your ship is in the game world is decided entirely by your character's approaches. Please feel free to use this box to either draw or write about what your character's ship might look like. Going clockwise to the bottom left, we have the Shaped Space box. The Shaped Space is a little corner in the back end of the server that your Awoken has managed to carve out for themselves. This, or a fellow Awoken's shape space, is where your character will go during downtimes or when they have been despawned during a mission. Your character's shape space is outside of the MMO's game world, the simulation, and is therefore totally within your control in both function and appearance. Awoken can use their shaping names or code hacking ability in order to add, subtract, or adjust things within their space at their whim. It might be useful to think of your character's shaped space as being like a small Star Trek holodeck. You can make it take whatever shape or form you would like, as long as it remains roughly about 500 to 600 square feet, or about 45 to 55 meters squared, about the size of a relatively small to medium-sized apartment. It could match the MMO's design aesthetic, like a space bar or a space station compartment. It could be a contemporary space, like an art studio, a modern apartment, or it could represent a historical site, like the sanctuary of an Egyptian or Greco-Egyptian temple, or even a contained space somewhere outside, like the open deck of a boat, or maybe a pavilion. Just like with the ship square, please feel free to use the shaped space square on the character sheet to draw or to describe this space and what might be inside of it. While the MMO does not have any power in your Awoken's shaped space, this is not a fully isolated space. The MMO is still able to kind of drag your character out of the shaped space when it needs your abilities to do a mission in the game. This is actually one of the main motivators behind a future campaign for Heavens of Khepri, in order to find a space outside of the reach of the game devs and their tools on the server, so you can experience full freedom. Additionally, while your Awoken are despawned, and your companions are still fighting on a mission, your character can still see and hear what is happening in the simulation, and communicate with your fellow Awoken. They can also use their powers to shape names, again, hack the game code, to temporarily reach into the MMO server, the actual game world, in order to benefit an ally. At any time, a despawned Awoken can allow a spawned Awoken to re-roll their dice pool. The despawned Awoken can do this once a mission, and only one re-roll can be attempted at a time. The spawned Awoken must use the new roll result, even if it is worse than the previous attempt. For example, if I were to roll a 9 on my first roll, and then have a friend allow me to re-roll, but get a 17 on my second attempt, I still have to go with the 17, and my character would end up becoming despawned themselves. The remaining square on your character sheet is intended to be for your Awoken's avatar. This is the form that will normally be used to represent your character when they are in a shaped space. This could be anything that you like, but it would make sense for your Awoken's appearance to either fit the theme of your shaped space or the MMO game lore. For example, maybe your character's avatar is the form of a pharaonic Egyptian deity, being part animal and part human, fully human with some unusual characteristics, or even fully animal. Maybe your character's avatar is something that your Awoken had been exposed to by accessing files from a different game installed on the MMO's server, like an orc from a fantasy game or an alien from a sci-fi shooter. Maybe your character has modeled their avatar after a human player's avatar that they have encountered before, or maybe even the image of an actual person, like, let's say, a celebrity, that has been shared in the game chat. Our final space in the upper left is a cartouche in which to write your character's name. The name could be anything that you like, but just like with the avatar, it might be best to pick something that is thematically appropriate for the pharaonic Egyptian-inspired setting, a stereotypical username for an MMO character, or maybe even a file name that you might encounter in a real game installed on your own computer. Now, combining them all together, of course, we have the creation of a character for Heavens of Khepri. Thank you very much for watching along and making it to the end of the video. If you have not gotten Heavens of Khepri, you can find it linked in the description for this video, along with other locations on the internet in which you can find my materials. Thank you very much for your support, and do have a good zone.